Alright, by now, if you've been following our tutorial, you've learned many useful features and tools in Audacity to create your own audio podcast. Now we're going to teach you more of a technique that's used called mixing. And what mixing is, it's laying one track on top of another to kind of give your audio track a smooth transition, just kind of make it sound like one long audio file. And that's kind of the goal in an audio podcast. You don't want it to sound like it's jumping from one track to another. So, what we're going to do for mixing is we have an introduction to our podcast. We're going to import an MP3. We're going to learn how to edit it, and we're going to learn how to move it into the right spot so it's just one smooth transition. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here into Project in our menus. We're going to click Import Audio, and you're going to want to navigate to wherever your song is saved on your computer. Mine is saved right here. I've already navigated to it, so I'm going to click Mr. Jones by the Counting Crows, and I'm going to click Open. And it could take a couple seconds to open, but basically what we're going to be doing with this audio file is we're going to be finding the specific spot that we want to preview, and it might be anywhere in the song. You might have to play with it a little bit to figure out exactly what spot that is in the song. But once you find it, you're going to want to cut that down to maybe a 10 or 15 second clip. You're going to want to fade in the beginning, fade out the end, and you're going to want to line it up with the track right above it, which is your introduction. So we're going to be doing all that here in a couple seconds, so I can walk you through that. If it sounds like a lot, don't panic. It's a little easier than you think. So here is our Mr. Jones track. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can get a better look at our audio. I'm going to zoom in twice. And I'm going to scroll over on the scroll bar on the bottom to take a stab at where I think this. Actually, I'm not going to lie to you. I already know where the part of the clip I want to edit is. So I'm going to click and drag to delete the part that I don't want. The chorus comes in a little bit before 1:25. On this song. So I'm going to delete what's on the screen, and if it's helpful for you to use a keyboard shortcut, the keyboard shortcut for cut is the delete key on your keyboard. So I'm going to use that twice here to get rid of the audio I don't want. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so I can have a little bit more accurate of a fade. I'm going to zoom into the front of my clip here so I know I've got the portion of audio that I want to play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a manual fade in. And we learned how to do manual fade-ins earlier. And manual fades give you a little bit more control over exactly how you want your audio to sound. So we're going to create our starting fade point and our ending fade point. I've got those two created. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a middle point. And what this middle point is going to do is it's going to give me a little bit of audio in the background of my introduction. So we're going to drag both of these two clips down right here. So there's a little bit of audio, but not much. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our time selection tool and we're going to slide this in just a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to go a little bit later in the track, say maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and we're going to do a manual fade out. So we're going to create our fade point to start fading out and our end fade point, and we're going to drag all the way until the rest of the track is mute. So right about there. It's a pretty quick fade. So this should be mixing. Let's see how I did. Let's see if I got it right on the first try, and if not, we can tweak it a little bit. But let's see what our track sounds like. Okay, before we go to break, let's take a quick look at what's coming up next. Okay, so that sounded pretty good for the first time around. Maybe we could limit this audio. We could turn this audio down right here. It was a little loud over my voice. So if you do want to do that, you can just click your manual fade tool at the top, and you can just move these two fade points down just a little bit more, and that'll reduce the audio level just a little bit. But it's not necessary. You don't have to if you don't want to. It's just kind of all up to you. That's the great thing about manual fading. Gives the user a lot of control over how you want your podcast to sound. So that's mixing. Very simple. It sounds a little complex, but it's just laying one track on top of another. So that's mixing using Audacity to create your audio podcast.